Welcome to another edition of Straight Shooting Sports Talk, and I'm your host, Dujane Bland. And today, we're talking NBA playoffs, and we're going to first take a look at the series that started on Sunday, the Grizzlies and the Spurs. And does anybody know where the Memphis Grizzlies went? Anyone? Did anybody send a search party out for Zach Randolph? Because they were not there. Nobody showed up, and it showed in the first quarter. Spurs came out and were just lights out in every facet of the game. I mean, Tony Parker it was like an ocean out there. You know, he was like throwing balls into an ocean, and he was just hitting everything. Step back jumpers on Zach Randolph with hands in his face. And it just seemed like in that first quarter that the Grizzlies were just a little bit flustered. And it carried on for 3 more quarters. Just seemed that they could never get a handle on this Spurs team. And they just looked discombobulated in every facet of the game. Zach Randolph, as big as he is, going 1 for 8 is unacceptable. I mean, they need you. They need you. But with all that being said, and the embarrassment that was Sunday's game, I still picked the Grizzlies to win this. It's probably going to go 7, but I picked them to win this. And the reason why, if we look back to the Warriors series with the Spurs, the keys there were to keep Ginobili and Parker off kilter, allowing them to have to run on both ends of the floor. Now, if you make them work on the defensive end, and we know that they like to run around a lot on the offensive side of the ball, by fourth quarter, you're gassed. They're not young like these teams are. They're not young like the Memphis Grizzlies. They're not young like the Warriors, Golden State Warriors are. So those things can work to your advantage. Zach Randolph, I've heard this from several people. It seems as if this guy needs to get kicked in the balls and get ticked off in order to play well. Because he didn't play well at all in game 1. Now, Zach, that's your kick in the balls. Time for you to go now. We all know that you can play dominating basketball. It's time for you to dominate. If Zach Randolph can dominate and throw his body around on the older but yet savvy Tim Duncan, tiring that guy out, wearing them out, and then having Ginobili and Parker work on both ends of the floor, this team definitely can have a chance and can win this series. But if you're going to play like you did on Sunday, this thing's going to be over in 4. And hey, we know that the Spurs have been there, done that attitude, starting with the coach. Pop's got these guys ready. Ben had them ready. They know what to do. But you guys got to come in and play basketball, or it's going to be over real quick. Because Sunday, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable at all. Now we move on to the Miami Heat and the Indiana Pacers. Now they play on Wednesday, and this is going to be a very, very interesting matchup. We know what Miami brings to the table with the likes of Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and of course LeBron James. But this Indiana Pacers team has a deeper bench. They have 5 guys on the bench that can come off and give you 12, 15 points. Easy. Now the question is, and this is the same question that we posed with the Grizzlies, can this team come out, play their style of basketball, and dictate to the Heat the way the game is going to be run? Because we all know if we're going to go running up and down the court playing fast break ball, that does not favor Indiana at all. It's just going to be highlight reel after highlight reel after highlight reel of LeBron James basically having his own personal dunk contest. And we know no one survives in that type of game. But with this team and their ability to play team basketball can force Miami to work harder on both ends of the floor. And if they can collectively play as a team defensively and offensively, not allowing themselves to be bullied by the Heat, we could be talking about a pretty good series that's going to come down to 7 games. Now, we could have had that. We saw that, phases of that in the Chicago series with the Heat. I wouldn't say that they got lucky in a few games. I think Chicago played well and played their style of basketball. But then again, outside of who they had starting, which were their backup guys who come off the bench, they had no backups for the backups. And that's what hurt them, and coupled with a little bit of the mouth running by Joakim Noah. But looking at this series in Indiana, it's going to be very, very interesting. I'm still picking the Heat. We picked the Heat at the beginning of this season, and we're going to stick with that pick. And as we stated, I think you're going to see these guys winning the NBA Finals. But hope everybody enjoys this game because it's going to be a very, very good one, a very close one to watch. And don't be surprised if Indiana sneaks up and takes 1 in 7. But it's going to be very tough for them. Tough road. Well, again, we thank you for watching another edition of Straight Shooting Sports Talk. Again, comment on our show. We'll keep the dialogue going with you. If you have a question or something you'd like to hear our take on, shoot us an email to straightshootingst@gmail.com. And as always, subscribe to the show. Again, you've been watching Straight Shooting Sports Talk.